Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Buying Bulletproof Clothing. Whether you need to purchase bulletproof clothing depends on a variety of criteria and variables. We'll tell you about that in a minute. Before I begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, follow, and comment on the show. Also to tell you that the show is sponsored by Hollywood is Calling. It's a company which allows you to purchase live phone calls with more than 100 celebrities, and it's a lot of fun. So whether it's for yourself or for someone you love, you can purchase a live call for $19.95 and then watch them enjoy receiving the call. Now let's get started. What is bulletproof clothing? Well, first let's begin by telling you that it's actually called bullet-resistant clothing because what kind of bullet it can stop or slow down is dependent on the caliber of the vest or clothing that you purchase. Typically, the more expensive the vest or clothing you buy, the larger caliber of bullet it is capable of stopping. Also, there's a difference between bullet-resistant clothing and bullet-resistant vests. The clothing is designed to look like normal apparel that you would wear throughout the day. That usually makes it a little more expensive. The vests you simply put on over your clothing or beneath your clothing, but it looks like a vest. It's a little bit heavier. It also has pockets for additional armor plating that you may want to insert for additional stopping power. The next question is, can just anybody buy a bulletproof vest? Well, before you do, you should check with your local and state laws. Obviously, if you're overseas, you want to check with the laws of your native country to see what if any restrictions there are. In some places, you cannot purchase one if you're a convicted felon. So just check out the rules and regulations. So what is an armored vest? Many vests and clothing are made of plastic polymers that are composed of many layers of either Kevlar or Spectra Shield. Some of those vests allow you to add additional plates of ceramic to the front, back, and sides so that you can stop larger caliber bullets and high-speed bullets. If you do that, keep in mind that those vests become significantly heavier, and that will impact your ability to wear them for a protracted period of time. So who should buy vests? Well, that's a decision that everyone has to make on their own. However, there are a number of criteria that you should look into before you make your decision. For example, if you live in an ultra high crime city or country, then you should consider getting bullet resistant clothing or vests. If you live in Moscow, Mexico, South America, or a US city with ultra high crime, then that again should be a determining factor in your decision to purchase one. There are also occupations which people working in should give serious consideration to the purchase of a vest. For example, are you a liquor store owner or employee who has to make a lot of cash deliveries from your store and to the bank? Well, if that's the case, think about a vest. Is your place of business located in a really bad neighborhood? Or do you have a high-profile job working overseas in perhaps the oil industry? Do you work for a company that has evaluated your occupation and decided to assign kidnap insurance to you? If so, you may want to get a vest. Do you work in New York's Diamond District? Time to get a vest. Are criminals routinely approaching your place of business and starting to try and extort money from you? Vest. Do drug dealers work out in front of your gas station? Do you live in a sanctuary city? Do the police in your sanctuary city refuse to respond to most police calls for help? Time to get a vest. Do you live in a gated community that has a guard at the gate who makes $10 or $12 an hour and believe that he's really going to stop a group of professional criminals and prevent them from getting at your house or you? Get a vest. Those are just some of the variables you should consider when contemplating the purchase of a vest. The next issue revolves around children. Do your children live in a bad neighborhood where they have to walk to school through a gang-infested area? You may want to consider getting them vests. There are companies now which sell vests for children. They also sell hoodies and backpacks and other clothing that are bullet resistant for the kids. You should also know that there are companies now that sell inexpensive vests um, that cost less to purchase than a bicycle for a child. So when you're making that purchase decision around Christmas time, think about it. How at risk are your children? Another issue involves expired vests. Most vests have an expiration date. During their lifespan, their bullet resistant capabilities are optimal. And once the vest's lifespan expires, then it will slowly degrade and its ability to stop a bullet will deteriorate. Now, I tell you that because there are a lot of shady characters at gun shows and with websites online offering to sell slightly used bulletproof vests or vests that have expired, but they don't really mention the fact that they've expired. So always make certain that the vest has not expired and that it is in fact new. The next commonly asked question is, can a vest stop an AK-47? To stop a bullet from an AK-47, you have to have a vest that's rated at N1J level 3A in combination with level 4 armor plating. That's what it's going to take to stop a bullet from an AK-47. For those of you who've only seen them fired on television or in the movies and not seen an AK fired in real life, let me give you an example. I once saw an AK-47 fired 3 blocks away. Most people know how long a block is. Imagine 3 blocks away. And unlike on TV or in the movies, when that AK was fired, I could feel the sonic shockwave passing through my chest, even though the gun was 3 blocks away. Think about that power. So it turns out there's a growing market for vests at this time. You know, where the need for vests was once limited to police officers, now first responders need them. You know, you have EMS drivers and firemen who show up wanting to help some injured victim, and the next thing you know, some crazy person is shooting at them randomly. And the problem is that a lot of first responders, a lot of the cities they work for, they do not purchase or make vests available to their fire people, to their first responders, their ambulance drivers. So these poor folks, they have to buy a vest on their own. There's also a growing segment of the population that is comprised of preppers and first responders. And now, you know, people who've been so affected by the virus, the pandemic, that they too are taking stronger measures at personal security. We're also hearing that because of this pandemic, that the sale of firearms, you know, at gun stores is doubling, tripling, and even quadrupling. So think about that. And remember this, if people are willing to get into a fist fight at the local grocery store over a roll of toilet paper, what do you think is going to happen if the tensions escalate any further? Now I'm going to tell you something that most people don't believe until they confirm it for themselves. And it involves enhancing your personal security with flamethrowers. That's right, I said flamethrowers. Do you know that you can now legally purchase a new car from a dealer in South Africa that has the option of providing you with side-mounted and side-firing flamethrowers? Why is that? Apparently, the crime, the carjacking, and the kidnapping is so off the charts in South Africa that dealerships are now offering their customers side-mounted flamethrowers. And the way it works is if somebody's trying to carjack you, trying to force their way into your car, maybe they want to kidnap you, There's a button on your dash. You type in your security number on the keypad, and then you hit that button, and this thing fires flames out of the side of your vehicle. Now, I know a lot of you don't believe this. You think this is preposterous. Not even James Bond sets people on fire who are trying to kidnap him. But it's true, and I'll prove it to you. Go to YouTube and enter the following keywords: South Africa, flame-throwing car to combat carjacking. And then you'll be stunned by the demonstration video that you'll see. So keep all of this in mind the next time someone wearing a virus mask tells you that everything is fine and that everything will be over in a couple of months. So having said that, I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.